What up, y'all? It's Joe Budden, here to talk about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to win real money while watching football. You can get up to 100 times your money.
Prize Picks will give you $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Just download the Prize Picks app and use code SPOTIFY. That's code SPOTIFY on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play a $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Talking about this is the Rip and Read featuring Curtis Sliwa. Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC and Curtis Sliwa.
So Curtis Sliwa is your upcoming host here on the Rip and Read at noon. And yesterday, Curtis, you were honored with an award for your ever-expanding presence on social media.
Well, thank you. It wasn't for my presence on talk radio, this thing of ours. But the ancillary things that result from that, you're right, social media, all the videos that I post, and that go viral all over the world.
You're a TikTok influencer in many ways.
TikTok. Yeah. Isn't that interesting that everybody in our government wants to ban TikTok, but they're all on TikTok? Can you explain that to me?
I don't think I can.
You sure?
It's called hypocrisy.
By the way, how's Joe Biden's TikTok doing?
I haven't checked his, he's kind of a non-entity these days, so I haven't really checked into his TikTok numbers.
Oh, that's right. That's right. He's not running any longer.
No, he's not. Although, we did see him wearing a Trump hat the other day. That was kind of interesting.
Well, he wanted to show solidarity on 9/11. But let's get back on track. Yes, I was the first award winner yesterday at the luncheon of the New York State Broadcasters Association. The first.
So how was that? How was that award ceremony?
Well, we were 60 stories above the Wall Street area.
Wow.
So we got a perfect view of Bloomfield, New Jersey, where Hillbilly Boy, that's where you're from.
That's true.
And in fact, I understand this weekend you're going hillbilly hand fishing in honor of what you call Hillbillies for Vance,
yes.
J.D. Vance.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're looking out. We have all of our colleagues in television and radio there to receive their awards, their recognition. And so who did they recognize first? WABC 770 AM radio. We had a whole slew of awards. But the first honoree was Curtis Sliwa. And I said, you better not give me this microphone. You may never get it back. And everybody said, hell yes. Why didn't you save him for last?
Well, yeah, look, and let's not let it go without saying that, of course, also receiving awards yesterday, James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley, our afternoon host, and our news director, Noam Laden.
Oh, yeah, and by the way, his speech went on and on. I thought it was Frank Morano Jr.
Wow, really?
He just would not stop. And everybody there, all of his colleagues in the news field, whether it's news on television or news on radio, they were all for toots over Noam. Yeah. Oh, Noam, he's the best.
That's what I hear. I hear a couple people called him out as a mentor and an inspiration and, Yeah,
a guy who fell asleep here and got fired is up there receiving an award.
Well,
and he's praising Noam Laden as if all of a sudden Noam Laden was, what do we call him? Marconi himself.
Yeah.
So it was great. I limited my remarks to the importance of AM radio, saying it was a solemn occasion because of 9/11. Remember when the towers went down? The only thing you could depend on was AM radio, 77 AM WABC and a few of our competitors, and that's it. No TV, no FM, no nothing. And they appreciated that at the New York State Broadcasters Association. A series of other awards. In fact, all of a sudden, we won one award for our coverage, sponsorship, and support of the annual Christopher Columbus Day Parade up Fifth Avenue, where we honor Christopher Columbus, the Nina, the Pinta, the Santa, and the Maria, the four ships that went west in order to find east. You figured that one out. Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand, who as soon as Columbus left port, decided to launch the Inquisition, and it was off with Jewish heads unless you became Marranos and converted. That's what Marrano means.
You've told me that. I hadn't known that ahead of time.
Which means if you trace Frank Morano's background, his peeps were put up against the wall and said, you either convert and become Roman Catholics or we chop your head off. So he gave up his Judaic principles, his family's Judaic principles, sold them out in order to save his neck.
Yeah.
And now you know the rest of that story.
And now we're glad that we have an overnight host as a result of that decision.
The problem was that Angelo Vivolo who is the president of the parade committee and a lifetime supporter of WABC 770 AM radio and John and Margot Katsimatidis and Chad Lopez, he gets up, he accepts the award. He goes on for about a good 7 minutes about what a great partnership with 77 AM WABC.
Right, naturally.
John and Margot, we don't just show up and broadcast on the parade. Dig, dig, dig. We give out pizzas. We give out cannolis. We give out Zeppelis. We give everyone a great time. And so he gets off the stage, and after a series of other award winners, the big macha of TV news gets up there, WABC Eyewitness News.
Channel 7, right.
They won a bunch of awards.
Sure.
But the general manager there, a Hispanic woman, boy, if looks could kill, Angelo would have been dead on arrival.
Oh. Why?
What she says, Angelo, did you forget? It's Channel 7 that actually broadcasts the Columbus Parade. Did you leave us off on the sidelines? Oh, man, she stuck the shiv in and twisted it a few times.
So she was feeling left out.
Well, because Angelo was rightfully saying, yeah, all you do is broadcast it. But WABC, we give out pizza, cannolis, Zeppelis. We're having a festival. We're dancing in the streets. All of our personalities are there. Who was there from Channel 7? Huh?
Yeah, well, and look, you mentioned how...
Is Rosanna Scotto from Channel 7? No. Is Joe Piscopo from Channel 7? No.
No, but you mentioned that Chad Lopez, John Katsimatidis, Margot Katsimatidis, all very committed to the coverage of that parade. How about the fact that you are now potentially setting up to debate John Katsimatidis concerning the potential Republican nomination for mayor here in New York City?
So I'm up receiving my award first, remember. They honored me first. They said this is the iconic figure of New York, the former mayoral nominee of the Republican Party, probably going to run again, should run again. Get rid of Eric Adams, including WBLS, right?
WBLS,
Eric Adams, right? So anyway, while I'm up there receiving my award and jawboning, the cabal of John Katsimatidis, Margot Katsimatidis, Chad Lopez, Emily Packow, the attorney, was sitting down trying to figure out what the rules and regulations should be to the debate that I was challenged to by our owner and operator, John Katsimatidis, who ran in the Republican primary 2013, and yours truly, who ran in 2024 against Eric Adams. Except, you know how Trump had the deck stacked against him, 3 versus 1?
I saw it Tuesday night.
This is exactly what they were discussing. Hey, Sid's on our side. He knows who signs his paycheck. So that's 2 against 1, right?
So wait, so what are you saying? What's the structure of the debate going to be?
Well, wait. Then all of a sudden, nobody said that there would be a fact finder, right? Somebody who would check facts in this debate, like ABC did 5-6 times against Trump and not against Giggles Harris. You know who they decided would be the fact finder, the fact checker? The news director, Noam Laden.
He and Nancy, who love this park, are going to chain themselves, do something to make it so they can't knock this park down. And Curtis says he'll get arrested along with his wife doing so. And he asks other people to join in to stop this from happening, handing this park over to the city so they can put affordable housing up. Let's hope, though, after they arrest Curtis Sliwa, that they give him a wooden shampoo.
Now, how the hell can he be impartial? I mean, he's editorializing in the 5 o'clock news, wanting me to get a wooden shampoo, an attitudinal readjustment, probably wanted me to be sucking concrete while the cops would have their boot in the back of my neck.
So in essence, if I'm to understand this correctly, it'll be you and John debating to try to come up with the best candidate on the Republican side.
It gets better. Margot Katsimatidis does the introductions.
Margot does the introductions.
Oh, that's going to be real fair, right?
Margot does the introductions.
It's a 10-minute introduction of John and a 10-second introduction of me.
Okay.
It's Margot saying, hey, Curtis, remember, we pay your child support.
Right, and then Sid's going to be hosting it.
Sid hosting it.
And then Noam is the fact checker.
Fact checker.
I think this sounds great.
Yeah, I'll bet you do. I'll bet you do.
It sounds totally fair to me.
Studio 77. Wait, it gets better. Chad Lopez says, just to stack the deck against Curtis because he's good. He does this all the time. Why don't we bring in the first row his first 4 wives, Corinne Drayton, Lisa Evers, Mary Patterson, Melinda Katz, and the last two wives will hold up a sign, remember your child support.
Yeah.
This way to unrattle me. Remember how Trump did that at the Hofstra University debate in 2016 against Hillary Rodham Clinton when they brought in Juanita Broderick, Paula Jones, Kathleen Wiley, and Kathy Shelton, and they sat right in the front so that Hillary would have to see that, and that rattled her.
Well, look, I mean, I think this is all very interesting. A lot of rules to be figured out for
Why
this
are you
potential
parsing
debate.
your language? This is completely unfair.
Because I find it very interesting that yesterday at 5 o'clock, at the same time that Katz and Cosby airs right here on these airwaves, you were on WBAI celebrating communism, blasting capitalism.
Yeah,
being a good little red boy that you are.
Hey, look, if I'm running against John Catsimatidis, I'm hedging my bet. I'm not going to get a fair opportunity here. So I was invited on.
So you're going class warfare.
I was invited on to WBAI 5 to 6. It's the call-in show with the host. And we were talking about the evils of capitalism and how I was brought up on Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals, which is true. And so they were saying, wow, a Republican who was brought up on Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals.
Right.
And then they said, what would you do to billionaires and millionaires without mentioning John Catsimatidis? And I said, you know, one of our greatest presidents of all time, FDR, imposed the wealth tax, the progressive tax that took 75% of all the higher incomes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're a Republican. In name only.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh, did I say that out loud?
Was I the Republican nominee in 2024? Was I not? Didn't I win a primary against Fernando Mateo? In fact, you would have thought that WABC was the House of Mateo. In the last few weeks, there wasn't a mention of Sliwa before the primary. It was Mateo every day. Mateo, 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 Mateo.
I have an idea for the debate for you and John. You're going to have Noam as the fact checker. Sid's hosting it. Margot with the introductions. Chad Lopez is going to be kind enough to help get your ex-wives all in attendance. Maybe I can serve as almost the ombudsman and try to make sure that the entire thing is fair, up to snuff, credible, legitimate. I'll be the ombudsman.
Yeah, ombudsman, sure. That'll be another shiv in me. It'll be the Ides of March, except it'll be all the senators in Rome sticking me. But let's deal with the news of the day. I see every worker and Boeing has walked out. They're on
that's
strike.
Right. Yeah. Let's see. Boeing workers on strike, about 30,000 at the airplane manufacturing plants in Seattle and Portland, rejected a contract offer, voted to walk out at midnight.
So I'm of the assumption that Joe Biden will be on the picket line with Harris and with the coach, you know, the scarecrow from Minnesota, right?
Walsey.
But one question, those two astronauts that got stranded in space by Boeing.
Yeah, they're still up there.
Are they on strike too?
Oh. Well, I guess they are.
But how are they ever going to get back?
They can't exactly walk off the job now.
But no, if they are Boeing employees and they're down with the union, you know, solidarity forever, they can't be brought back by Elon Musk because he promotes scabs.
Because I was going to say, it's actually SpaceX that's now working to try to get them back.
So that would be taking a ride on a flight that's run by a scab operation.
Wow. So you're saying that in solidarity with the union, to stand up with their brothers and sisters in labor, they have to actually stay there in that space capsule.
And I noticed that in the most recent pictures of about 30 minutes ago, in solidarity with Boeing going out on strike, they were holding up signs. We are on strike.
Right. Yeah, don't cross the picket line.
Exactly, Elon Musk.
Don't cross the airlock.
That's right, and don't rescue us.
Right.
We're stuck in space until this strike is resolved.
Yeah, solidarity.
Yeah, forever. Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. And by the way, you know who believed in that?
Who's that?
Breitbart and O'Keefe.
You've told me that.
A Project Veritas.
Yeah, they use them pretty effectively.
Oh, and so have I. So have I. So, hey. Get ready for your hillbilly hand fishing contest out in Bloomfield.
Congratulations on your award yesterday.
Get the hell out of here.
At Arizona State University, we've made online education better, smarter, and more personalized so you can go further in your aspiring field.
I decided to pursue medicine once I realized that ASU did have the online program for biological sciences. You're still required to learn the same curriculum. You're still being tested on the same content that anyone would be tested on in person. The comprehensiveness of the program prepared me so well for medical school.
Explore over 300 programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Curtis Sliwa. Curtis Sliwa. Rip and Read. Check this out. This is the Rip and Read featuring Curtis Sliwa. Talking about now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC and Curtis Sliwa. This is the Rip and Read.
Liar, liar, liar. Andrew Evil Eyes Cuomo, who went back to his compound owned by Chris Cuomo, Fredo, and with his wartime consigliere, Joe Percoco, just released on a 6-year bid federal time for political corruption, is licking his wounds, but still, believe it or not, wanting to make his political comeback. I don't know how you do that after you were confronted by Donna Ann Johnson in the hallways of the House of Representatives, after you appeared before the congressional hearing and both Democrats and Republicans accused you, and rightfully so, accused you of a cover-up in the number of elderly who died, both sides, and you had multiple chances to turn around and acknowledge the family's victims who were right behind you, and you chose to ignore them and pretend that they didn't exist. But Donna Ann Johnson, who is the sister-in-law of Janice Dean, who lost both her parents because of Cuomo, just wasn't going to let him get away with that.
And they're in total denial.
No, you're a liar.
Total denial.
You're a liar.
And
you killed my parents and thousands of others. You're a liar. And you're in denial.
And it was unnecessary.
Oh, I need to hear that again. That was the cut of the day by Donna Ann Johnson, who would not let that scoundrel, Andrew Evil Eyes Cuomo, sleek away back to his compound in the Hamptons.
And they're in total denial.
No, you're a liar.
Total denial.
You're a liar.
And
you killed my parents and thousands of others. You're a liar. And you're in denial.
And it was unnecessary.
And this is after Elise Stefanik let him know that he'll never hold elected office ever again.
No. You're the former governor who's disgraced under oath.
Lie to the
this
people
executive
of the
order was
United
under
States.
your name. It was counter to CDC
Why
and
did
CMS.
you let President Trump lie?
This is about those seniors, Governor. They deserve to hear from you in the eye that you apologize, that you were negotiating for a multi-million-dollar book deal. It is a disgrace. There is a reason why you were the former governor of New York State, and you will never hold elected office again. I yield back.
The collective voices of Janice Dean, Donna Ann Johnson, her sister-in-law, Jennifer Harrison of the Victims' Rights Group, and Tracy Alvino of Voices for Seniors of Long Island will resonate. They will haunt you until the day you die, Andrew Evil Eyes Cuomo. So you want to run for mayor? Get into the gladiator pit, because on my shield against you will be the names of 15,000 elderly people that I hold you responsible for their death, and so do many others.
Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC and Curtis Sliwa.
Curtis doesn't know about you, but he rips and reads.
This is the Rip and Read.
This is the theme song for Eric Adams, swagger man with no plan, who now is slipping into the abyss because everyone attached to Team Adams knows that just like the mayor, you got to have a side hustle. And I've described this to you for many, many years, that Eric Adams would go up to Club Zero Bond and would get all the downtown money. Whatever happened in Club Zero Bond stayed in Club Zero Bond. And when he needed the uptown money from the hood, he'd go up to Con Sofrito, owned by Richie Caban, brother of the outgoing now police commissioner, Eddie Caban, and really run by a nefarious individual in club life, Jimmy Rodriguez, who's tainted. So if you were part of Team Adams, and he always says the team, you look at Eric Adams, the leader of the pack, and you say, this guy has a side hustle. I mean, he goes to Red China, he brings back the loot. He goes to Azerbaijan in Turkey, he brings back the loot. And he parties all the time.
I'm the CEO of the largest corporation in America, and my bald head, earring wearing swagger is running this city my way. My way. Yeah. That's swag.
Yes, sir.
Right into the ground. Getting wine, dined, and pocket line, and he all he would ever focus on is the importance of swagger and having a side hustle.
When a mayor has swagger, the city has swagger.
And he laughed. I knew what that meant. I'm a street guy, and so did his, I'll call them brothers from the hood. You got the Banks brothers and the Caban brothers. They knew exactly what he was talking about. And how he likes to sample the product.
But you know, I'm a nightlife mayor, and I like to test the product.
Everybody knows what that means, testing the product. And so if the leader of the pack is going to be testing the product and breaking to the early dawn hours, everyone else is going to follow suit, and they're going to get theirs. They had their side hustle. So all of a sudden, it wasn't Eric Adams' choice, but it was the choice of Damian Williams, the U.S. Attorney of the Southern District, who has led these investigations, that has snatched up phones of not only Eric Adams, but all of his sycophants, toadies, and lackeys, who basically decided, hey, Eric, guess what? You're going to have a federal monitor. And the federal monitor is going to be Thomas Donlin, former member of the FBI, and then Eric Adams, who wants to avoid getting indicted. So, yeah, okay, you got it.
To ensure crime keeps going down in our city today, I'm taking immediate action in appointing Tom Donlin as interim police commissioner.
And let me tell you something. He didn't want to appoint Tom Donlin. Tom Donlin is there for one reason alone. To try to stop the corruptive practices that Eric Adams, with his own behavior of having side hustles, has encouraged by his actions. And maybe even his words. Who knows? Maybe that's why they snatched up his phone, the U.S. Attorney of the Southern District. But now we get to the heart of the matter. The hustle that the Caban brothers were involved with. Eddie Caban, the police commissioner. Today is his last day. The black sheep of the family, former sergeant in the NYPD, James Caban, who was always looking for side hustles. And then Richie Caban, who is the owner of Con Sofrito nightclub in the Bronx, the watering hole where all the politicos went and got wine, dined, and pocket line behind closed doors. Richie knew nothing about running a club. It was Jimmy Rodriguez, and anything he touches turns into an act of corruption. So you had all three Caban brothers. And now we finally have one of what will be many people who will come forward and explain to you what the Caban brothers' hustle was. Shaking down nightclubs, shaking down restaurants, shaking down bars.
The bar owner had his permits, his liquor license, and his share of noise complaints. But what he says he needed, a break from tough NYPD enforcement. Seeking help, he says he was introduced to a mayoral staffer and then to the twin brother of the NYPD's top cop. And then he says he was asked for thousands in payments.
I felt like it was like I got an ultimatum. Like, it's either you get with this or you're going to get shut down.
So he's got a bar right on Mermaid Avenue in Coney Island. And you got the City Hall staffer, Ray Martin, who they fired today, but obviously is a friend of Eric Adams, like everyone else. This report by Jonathan Dienst of WNBC TV News and the bar owner, Shamel Kelly, who said, enough is enough. They shook me down every chance that they had. And the guy who did the shidduch on this was working for Adams right in City Hall. His name, Ray Martin.
Shamel Kelly says it was this man, mayoral staffer Ray Martin, who first told him he could pay the police commissioner's brother to help get better treatment from the NYPD.
He just said that he was assistant of Eric Adams, and he know people, and he dropped the Mr. Eddie Caban name because he's I guess the NYPD commissioner, and I was having problems with the NYPD.
Yeah, problems with the NYPD. They were trying to do enforcement. So in order to get the NYPD 60th precinct off his back, Ray Martin in City Hall, friend of Eric Adams, said, well, I can take care of you. I can take care of you, brother Shamel Kelly. I'm going to hook you up with James Caban, brother of the police commissioner, Eddie Caban, and he'll make this go away.
Later, Kelly says the police commissioner's brother, James Caban, told him he could help with his NYPD problems if he paid him $2,500 up front.
Oh, that's the old-fashioned way. And I knew this would happen when, right before January 1st of 2024, Eric Adams had a press conference with the Eddie Caban, the police commissioner, and his new nightlife czar, some guy who owned a gin mill and restaurant up in the Bronx. He did it in the Bronx. And he said, we're going back to old school ways, code language, shakedowns. And what I mean by that is when Rudy Giuliani became mayor, he understood that the nightlife, restaurant business, gin mill business was out of control, causing all kinds of problems in the neighborhoods, violating every rule and regulation from occupancy to fire hazard, the whole 9 yards. So he put together a special tactical team called March. And unbeknownst to the local precinct, March would come in and do inspections at like 2 a.m. and shut you down, padlock you down. And so Eric Adams, obviously a friend of everyone in nightlife, more so than he was ever our friend, decided, I'm going to end that. These unexpected inspections in the wee hours of the morning that then ends up padlocking the clubs, the restaurants, the bars. We're going back to the old school ways. And he called it Project Cure. We're going to cure all this, C-U-R-E. And the way he decided it would be cured is to go back to the way business was done with bars, restaurants, and nightclubs before Rudy Giuliani. So the local captain or deputy inspector would let you, the nightclub owner, know in advance, hey, we got a series of problems with your club. Why don't you come on into the precinct, come into my office, and we'll have a conversation, and we'll try to work this out. And let me tell you something, all that led to was corruption, and more corruption. And by the way, you're going to comp all the men and women of the department. They're going to be able to come in whenever they want, how they want, with who they want. And remember, drinks are on you, buddy, if you want to stay open. Or we just turn the enforcement mechanism loose on you. So either you're going to deal with James Caban, who had his own private security company that hired off-duty police officers at the NYPD, or we're going to shut you down. Good old-fashioned shakedown. And you're going to tell me nobody at City Hall knew that? You're going to tell me that Eddie Caban, the police commissioner, didn't know that when his brother James is an absolute lookalike. I sat at a table at a fundraiser, and I had known Eddie Caban. And for a half hour, I sat with James Caban. I had a conversation with him. I thought I was talking to the police commissioner, Eddie Caban, for a half hour. That's what a spitting lookalike he is to his twin brother. And as Eddie Caban often said, there is no separation between me and James. I am James, and James is me. And it was obvious because of the way they set up this side hustle with their brother Richard, who was the front for Con Sofrito in the Bronx, run by the nefarious Rasputin, Svengali, Jimmy Rodriguez, who has managed clubs all over the Bronx that suddenly, all of a sudden, close. We'll do a future episode on that. Meantime, let's go back to Ray Martin, the fixer from City Hall, friend of Eric Adams, who was going to make this all go away for the bar owner, Shamel Kelly.
Kelly said he never expected that Ray Martin from the mayor's office would give him this advice.
He went on about how he thinks that I should just close the bar, and if I don't close the bar, there's only one way to get the police to stop doing what they're doing, and that's to speak to one of his friends, which was the James Caban guy.
The James Caban guy. And then James Caban doesn't use the intermediary Ray Martin from City Hall, friend of Eric Adams, any longer to resolve this. He just calls the guy up on his cell phone, man, and he breaks it down to him, man. I want the money. Show me the money.
Kelly and Caban also spoke by phone. And that's when Kelly says James Caban asked him for the initial $2,500.
He said that he will mediate my issues with NYPD. He could bring them to me, have a meeting, resolve our issues, is what he specifically said he could do. After he said I had to pay him for it, I felt like it was him trying to extort me.
Damn right, because remember with Eric Adams, he had his side hustle and all his homeboys had their own side hustle. And he certainly was aware of what was going on because it was do as I say and do as I do. Pretend that everything is copacetic and go for yours because Eric Adams lived by one code ever since he was sworn into office as a state senator up in Albany. As he came before family and friends, media, his fellow crooked Republicans and Democrats there in the state legislature, and the lobbyists who were salivating, realizing after he said this, man, we can bribe this guy, man. We can buy this guy.
Show me the money. Show me the money. That's what it's all about.
And that's what it's always been about. And with Eric Adams is kicking it with his homeboys until the break of dawn. Eddie Caban, James Caban, Richie Caban. And then when he's hanging with the Banks brothers, what was the code that he'd be telling them as they be drinking and smoking those Cohiba cigars? Play it one more time, Sam. Play it one more time.
Show me the money. Show me the money. That's what it's all about.
And I've been telling you that when I ran against Eric Adams for mayor, and all in his mayoralty, and none of you wanted to listen. You all said, oh, Curtis, you're just envious. You're jealous because you lost. Really? Who's envious or jealous now? Because all I say to all of you who voted for Eric Adams is, you must suffer as a result of the foolishness that you exhibited in not listening to me.
This is the Rip and Read featuring Curtis Sliwa. Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC and Curtis Sliwa. It's the left versus the right. In the right corner, Dominic Carter. In the left corner, It's Anthony Weiner. Now, to the Bernard McGurk studios, it's a 77 WABC debate. The melee in the metropolis.
Left versus right this Saturday, 4 to 5. If you missed it, you got to get it on podcast at WABCRadio.com. TKO Harris. TKO Harris, boy, you must be feeling good, Wiener, getting in the ring with Dominic Carter this week.
It's going to be tough for him. You know, the funny thing is about Dominic is, you know, we did this preview show this week. He said if Trump can avoid letting Kamala Harris get under his skin, he'll do fine. The exact opposite. I'm eager to see what Dominic even has to say this week. He's going to blame the moderators and whatever, but, you know, when it comes down to the performance of the two candidates, Trump had a rough day.
Very rough. And he has opted to say, I'm not going to be warm and fuzzy. His new approach is, yeah, I am the angry guy. And I'm angry for the following reason. So he realizes Trump is Trump. He's not going to change.
Yeah.
And he's going to explain the rest of the campaign while he's angry. But again, you know who they are appealing to now, independent women. They won it for Trump the first time. He lost it because of them the second time. He's got to do something because those women are not going to break for him in the last few weeks of the campaign. He's not going to be warm and fuzzy, but maybe actually bringing Melania around and the Vice President candidate Vance bringing his wife around and surrounding themselves with women on the stage because it's just too macho.
I know, but the problem is he can't decide which he wants to be. Does he want to be the angry, aggressive, appealing to white men kind of thing, or does he want to appeal to independents? And then he brings on his plane Laura Loomer, a 9/11 denier. It doesn't seem like he's getting good advice from people. But here's the thing. Despite it all, he has a high floor and a low ceiling. He's stuck right where he is. You're still within a point or two. I kept telling people, when you're watching this, it's not like the Super Bowl where some people are rooting for the teams. Most of us just want to see the game. 1% of the people that watched that debate really had an open mind about what was going to happen. So for all the talk about how well she did, it's still only 1% that separates them.
And the Swifties, Taylor Swifties, embracing the coach because he also has a cat in addition to a dog.
Listen, I wouldn't write off the Taylor Swift thing just because the one thing that can make the polls wrong is if one demographic group does turn out disproportionately, a lot of people are registering to vote. Who knows? I think we're done with the October surprises. I think you said it right at the top. Donald Trump has decided he's going to be who he's going to be and hope that his base is enough to carry him. It hasn't in the past. Let's see if it will this time.
Springfield, Ohio. That was the defining moment of the debate. Whether Haitians are eating dogs and cats or they're not eating dogs and cats, that is the question. I have seen more memes of Trump surrounded by dogs and cats than I've ever seen in my life.
And everyone's making a big deal, I know Dominic is, about, the moderator shouldn't have fact-checked him, whatever it is. The moment he yelled into the microphone, and he was talking about immigration, his strongest issue, they're eating your cats, they're eating your dogs. I'm like, I was watching it here at Studio 77 with a lot of conservative listeners. Everyone laughed because they thought it was a funny moment. You don't want that if you're on a presidential debate.
But to some people out there, that will resonate. Because remember, I've indicated that now 97% of people who have pets, whether they're dogs or cats, according to Pew Research, view them as family members. So it's almost as if you're accusing them of being cannibals without actually saying cannibals.
Right. It's also the other thing is, he constantly is using dog as a derogatory thing. Lied like a dog, cheated like a dog, whatever. I am now a dog owner, thanks to you and Nancy giving me advice to adopt my dog. I'm now a dog owner. Listen, the one thing when we nod and to each other at the dog park, that's a powerful voting force, as you probably know.
Anthony, I have advised Trump, who does not listen to me, I don't have conversations with him, knock off calling Kamala Harris dumb. She proved the other night she ain't dumb. And more importantly, there are women who haven't made up their mind yet. Every time you call her dumb, they're sitting there saying, that's what my boyfriend used to call me, my brothers, my father, my husband. You're a dumb blankety blank. What the hell do you know? It brings back flashbacks.
100%. And he's got pretty good arguments. He waited till his closing statement to say, where were you for 3 years? How come you didn't do anything? That should have been his opening statement, and every time she said something in the middle. Instead, she's calling her names and talking about dogs and cats.
Yes, he was off his game, and he has decided that's it. No more debates.
Wouldn't you do a second debate if you're him?
Oh,
try to clean it up? Yeah,
I would do 3, 4, 5 debates. I live to debate. Win, lose, or draw. Come on, get it on.
You don't want to be left with this impression. I would do it and clean it up.
Oh, he would do so much better another time, but he's had it. I guess he figures I'll blame it all on ABC, and let's move on to November 5th. Again, left versus right. You don't want to miss it. Anthony Weiner on the left, Dominic Carter on the right. Saturdays 4 to 5. Anthony with the warm-up before for an hour from 3 to 4. And, of course, you can get it all on your podcast at WABCRadio.com.